Okay, so welcome to Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. I'm Lisa Shield,
And I'm Benjamin Shield.
and we want to welcome you to another episode of this broadcast where my husband Benjamin and I share the right kind of emotionally naked conversation that most couples should be having. Today, we're talking about something that feels more relevant than ever. Why now is actually the best time for men to be dating, even if it doesn't look like it. As we all may have realized, we're in pretty uncertain times. And when the world feels heavy, the future's unpredictable, and the news cycle is relentless, it's easy to think that dating or falling in love just isn't a priority, and that people are too distracted, too burned out, or too overwhelmed to even think about relationships. And that couldn't be further from the truth. If anything, right now, what we need more now than ever are deep, nourishing, emotionally safe relationships. That's our haven from everything that's going on. And this isn't just about casual relationships, but the kind of love that helps us stay grounded in the midst of chaos. Because no matter what's happening out there in the world, the single greatest way to feel stable, supported, and whole is by surrounding ourselves with people who care about us, especially with a loving partner. So the truth is that men are feeling the weight of all of this too, not just women, not just our girlfriends, but men are truly feeling the weight of this. But the problem is that unlike women who have stronger emotional support systems, men are more likely to internalize their stress and isolate themselves. In fact, they've found that if you go into a retirement community or a retirement home, very often the men are sitting off by themselves and the women are in groups doing activities with each other. And so it's very sad. There's a lot of isolation with men, especially in times of stress and loneliness. So today, Benjamin and I want to open up a conversation about how men are affected by these turbulent times and why they may not show it, and why now more than ever, so many of them are truly longing for real love, even if they don't know how to say it. So babe, let's dive in and let's talk about why now is actually the best time for men to be dating, even if it doesn't look like it. So a lot of women assume that men aren't interested in dating right now because the world's so chaotic. From a male perspective, is that really true?
I think that I would take it one level higher than dating, because I think it's important to seek relationship. And it's so easy when the times are troubled to begin to feel lonely and isolated, and that the weight of the world is on a person's shoulder. And when a man is in partnership, he has someone that can help relieve the stress, anxiety, sadness, overwhelm of the news, and provide a listening ear, empathy. When some years ago, and we've been together over 23 years now, knew whatever happened in the world, I would be surrounded by love. I had you, I had my best friend, Richard, I had my mother, and I knew whatever happened, I'd be walking on this planet surrounded by a bubble of love. Richard and my mother have passed, but I still feel that same bubble of love. So it insulates me from just being buffeted by the news, by financial concerns, by all of those things. And to have someone to share this with, particularly in turbulent times, it's invaluable.
Yeah. And I think the reason I bring up dating is because so many of our clients are single, and they're assuming that, just like they did in the pandemic, that now is not the time to date, that people will have other concerns, other priorities, and this wouldn't be a good time for dating. And I think it's very important to remind women who are single and looking for love that having a partner is the most valuable investment any person can make. We've looked at the stock market, the volatility. So many of us have put all of our eggs in that basket, thinking that's our security against the future. And of course, the stock market will hopefully come back. It always has historically. But we look at the amount of money we invest in the stock market or in a home that can burn down in fires. But love and dating and partnership, really, in the end, no matter what happens in the outside world, investing in this and making sure that you have a partner is the most important investment any person could possibly make. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And having someone to go through turbulent times, it not only help the individual. But as a couple, they get more bonded and they have more emotional depth and trust with each other. So these turbulent times, instead of being a deterrent to have a relationship, can actually build relationships.
And we have a former client who lives in Los Angeles. She was in the Pacific Palisades and she lost her home. And had she not done the course and not worked with us to find a partner, she has a wonderful life. She has a thriving career, even though I think she's in her early 70s maybe. But she had everything anyone could want, but she luckily found a partner and lost everything in the Palisades. And how was she when you spoke to her?
Gosh, happy, happy. And I think that partnership provides that safety, that matrix, that we can still be happy in the worst of times because two people have each other and have each other's back.
And she expressed that. She said, I wouldn't be where I am, but all the stress and everything that I might have felt, losing my home, having a partner, makes everything wonderful. I think they're planning on getting married. And yeah, so even at that stage of life, maybe they moved in together sooner than they thought. But at least they had each other, which is wonderful. What's going on emotionally for men during times like these? And how does that impact their desire for connection?
I think always an insecurity during economic hard times that someone's career is going to be affected. Either they can be laid off or minimize, that men wake up with anxiety. That what happens? One of my favorite Bruce Springsteen songs, they use a lot for weddings. And some of the lyrics go, if you fall behind, I'll wait for you. And if I fall behind, you'll wait for me. It's a beautiful song. But that's just it, that when it's partnership, two people to cover for you. There have been times where I've been ill and you've covered for me. And there are times where I've covered for you.
Absolutely.
If we were alone, if we were isolated, I don't know what it would have looked like. Yeah.
And we've been able to move forward and recover faster because of that. Because we weren't, there wasn't, if there's an illness, for example, and you're trying to recover, you had a few very serious illnesses. And if you had been both worried about your financial situation and how you were going to survive on top of being ill, it would have been horrifying. But because we're able to do that dance and we've done it fairly well together, we've picked up the slack for one another. In times of need, it's really been invaluable. During the pandemic, we saw people slow down and reflect on what really mattered. Do you think something similar is happening now?
I think it will. I think right now people are like deer in the headlights. And I think when that phase passes, they'll realize that life is tenuous when we're alone. We're by ourselves. We don't have that support of another person. We may have friends, but they're very different having a partner. Friends we could commiserate with, but a partner we work with. We have shared values. We remind each other's goals. And I think it's going to be incredibly important after this initial shock.
Yeah, I think we're already in it. I feel myself reprioritizing, looking at what matters and what doesn't matter, looking at having come out of a period of tremendous affluence and opportunity to a place where people are way more concerned about their pocketbooks, about making ends meet, about having the resources to get through these times, and looking at what matters and what doesn't matter. When people are going and counting pennies and adding up every cent they spend at the grocery store, I think that it's really starting to sink in, maybe more than we may be coming out of the deer in its days. I think we're getting beyond that. Why do you think women assume men aren't looking for anything serious right now? And is that a fair assumption?
And many of them, particularly at a certain age, aren't looking for casual relations, looking for partners. They may be widowed or divorced. They may never have had really. That they feel that this is the time to be in a relation. So yes, there'll always be those that are forever boys.
Or avoidant or emotionally unavailable.
Exactly. But I think most people now are dating and again, in particular, and ages, that they're very serious.
Yeah. It's a time where I think we're being called to be more serious, to take life just take life seriously in a way that we may not have for a while because things have been so easy. What would you say to a woman who feels like all the good men are too distracted or overwhelmed to date?
I think that we just have to turn inward because women are equally as distracted and stressed and overwhelmed. In some ways, it draws a man to work. So to attract,
Right.
making a partner, it actually attracts.
Well, and we had, again, the most successful time in my business, in this part of the business, during the pandemic. And I gasped when things shut down and thought, oh my goodness, is this the end of the road? And instead, it was just a whole new awakening, a whole new beginning at a time where you would have thought that nobody would be dating. People are so resourceful. It was incredible how people sat on Zoom and got to know each other and really
Met
talk.
outside and went for walks.
Yeah, they did easy things where they connected. And we have so many couples. In fact, we have another one of our couples is getting married in May who met during the pandemic. So just an amazing time. How can a woman spot the difference between a man who's truly unavailable and one who wants love but just hasn't found the right connection?
I think that a man who really wants connection will keep moving forward in the dating relationship. He'll be showing up. He'll be true to his word. He'll be attentive. And the relationship will, someone who's unavailable, they'll often reach a point and bail out because they think it's getting too serious.
Or just want to keep texting and not actually even ask a woman on a date. That there will be a lot of starts and stops. And it just feels like for a lot of women, it's interesting. We just transitioned from Facebook to a new platform called School. And a number of the women I was in the community today, and a couple of the women were writing about men who they were communicating with, but were not asking them on dates. If you're communicating with a man and you feel like you're having conversations, but the man is not advancing that connection, and especially if you're saying, what's a girl like me got to do to get a coffee date with a guy like you? And the man isn't moving things forward or picking that up, then you shouldn't have to be on there more than a few days. Once you have a Zoom call with somebody, if that person doesn't want to take the next step, I would say I'm looking for something a little more face to face and in person, not just a pen pal or a texting buddy. And so you have to call it out in a kind way, but you can't just let men string you along thinking, oh, this is going to happen. A lot of women get caught up and they don't have good boundaries around that. Do you think men are craving more emotional stability in their lives because of all the external instability?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Emotional stability with emotional intimacy and heart and being guardians of each other's soul in your course is crucial. I think a man dreams of that. I think that often men can seem avoidant because they think it's possible.
And I know you and I have really been there for each other recently, always, and especially right now. And I know I've felt like I've been in a lot of turmoil. I went to the protest yesterday, and I've felt a lot of agitation, a lot of angst, a lot of anxiety recently. I know you have too, and it doesn't change the outside world, but it's comforting for us to be able to talk about those things.
You can imagine the difference of coming home from something like that to an empty house and coming home to a partner that you could talk to.
So what are some subtle ways a man might show that he wants love, even if he doesn't come out and say it directly?
I think that, again, the relationship continues to move forward. And he becomes more vulnerable. And he asks vulnerability of a potential partner also. So that need to know someone even more because not academically, just facts about them, but really know them And so I think that men really want that, and we'll show that.
They want it as much as women do.
Absolutely.
And it may be men may use fewer words and they may not want to process and all of those things, but they still need the grounding and the comfort and the support and someone to turn to.
Yeah. And there are a lot of single fathers and there are a lot of single mothers.
Yeah.
And to have a dual partnership, two parents in a commingled family, that would be a dream.
So how can a woman reframe the idea that dating is just another stressor and instead see it as a source of healing and connection?
I think that I've always felt that when people date, it's a rare opportunity to sit across from someone who you never would have met, never would have got to know. And even if there's not going to be a second date, to really share your thoughts and be vulnerable. And so when the date ends, two people leave more enriched.
So just reframing and looking at each date as a chance for two people to come together and enjoy each other's company. And even as a little bit of an escape from what's happening in the world right now, the chance to possibly meet the guardian of your soul and do the things that you can do, right? Because there are things that are just out of our control. I think that's part of what is happening right now is people wake up and they see what's going on and look, regardless of what side of the equation you're on, there is instability right now in the world. There's unrest. That's a fact. And it's affecting everybody. But just the thought that this is one part of my life that I do have some power, some control, some influence over. If I am single, if I don't have a partner, I have the ability to get out there and change that and bring love into my life. And it could make all the difference in a woman's world. So to reframe it like that and see it as something that you are not a victim here. You can change this. You do have the power to go out and date and meet someone wonderful.
And it's not about waiting for someone to call, swipe right on you. It's really showing the feminine lead, reaching out to men who really seem interesting, that there could be a possibility of something magical.
So, babe, one last question. If you could speak directly to the women listening who feel discouraged or hesitant to date, what would you want them to know about men and love?
I think you said it when you said that men want love as much as women do. Truly, truly. And I think men aren't always as in touch with their emotion or ability to express feelings. And that begins to grow in a relationship. Give men a chance. If they seem a little off-putting at first, it may be nervousness.
Do a course like ours. Learn how to be the kind of woman that men open up to. Become that woman who knows how to give a man what he needs so that he can give you what you need. I think that's also one of the most important things, because there's a certain futility that I think a lot of people feel in dating when you're going out and it's not clicking, it's not working. But that's where working with people like us, doing our emotionally naked dating program, this is where we give you your best opportunity, your best chance. In fact, the women who go through the course just cannot say enough. They're just gushing. They come on our group Q&A calls and they're saying, oh my gosh, my whole perspective on men has changed. My perspective on life, on dating, on love. I see what's possible now. All of the things that were barriers in the past, so much of that is melting away. And I see what's possible.
Yeah. And in your course, you also teach women how to be on a date.
Yeah.
Where it's not where they can be emotionally vulnerable in a safe way and seek out vulnerability in the person sitting across from them. And that vulnerability, sharing of feelings, builds.
Yeah.
So ideally, it will build with each date.
And having that investing right now, again, investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. All of the money that we put into the stock market with its volatility, or into a home that is also volatile today with climate change, and not to scare people, but to be realistic. Those things, we had a woman who did our course, not just emotionally naked dating, but our mastermind. And when I asked her about doing the mastermind, she said, Lisa, My husband and I got divorced, and I was saving every penny, and it all went to the lawyers. I have nothing to show for it. The one thing I have to say, of all the investments of time and money and all that I have made in my entire life, this is it, babe. All right. I hope, what I hope you take away from this conversation is that just because the world feels unpredictable, it doesn't mean that men have stopped wanting love. You really need to get this. If anything, times like these wake us up to what really matters: connection, partnership, and feeling like we're not doing life alone. We saw this during the pandemic, where so many people, men included, use that time to reflect on their lives and open their hearts in ways that they hadn't done before. And the truth is, that same opening is happening again, probably even more. And if you're sitting on the sidelines telling yourself this isn't a good time to date, I want to challenge that belief, because this might actually be the most meaningful time of all to open your heart. So you don't just need to sit and wait for things to be perfect out there. If you do that, you may be waiting for a long time, and there will always be excuses for why you can't date. You'll always find them. If you're scared, if you don't have a plan and a proven path like our emotionally naked dating program, you are going to keep finding one excuse. Before, it may have been because you were waiting for your kids to get out of the house, and then you needed to get a new job, or you had to finish getting your master's or whatever. There's always going to be reasons not to date. But right now, if you're using what's going on in the world as that excuse, we don't know when things are going to turn around. So you could be waiting for a long time and suffering through a time in your life where you don't have to be. So please don't keep waiting for things to be perfect. You just need to be open, present, and willing to connect with someone who's looking for the same things you are. So take a chance, put yourself out there, because even now, especially now, love is out there looking for you too. So I want to thank you so much. If you want to learn more about the work we do, please go to lisashield.com and click the button all over my website to watch my free presentation. Once you watch that, it will give you the opportunity to sign up for a love strategy session with me or with a member of my team. And that's how you can gain access to Benjamin and me and find the guardian of your soul. And thanks so much for being here.
What a pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
And I love doing it. Thank you. I'm Lisa Shield.
I'm Benjamin Shear.
And have a beautiful rest of your day.